Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over my cheat sheet for tomorrow's early main slate for today on DraftKings. But anyway, before we continue, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. Also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPinell16. And if you want access to this cheat sheet, the pitching model, the hitting model, my daily write-ups, Slack chat, projections, you can click the link in the description below and it will take you to my Patreon. We have over 65 members now, so that's pretty awesome. I appreciate all the support on there. And lots of cool stuff on there. You get access to all my spreadsheets. We have UFC. UFC's been awesome. Andrew's example cash lineup is now cashed at 89% rate. And he's had quite a few tourney takedowns this season, so he's been absolutely awesome. We're really happy to have him on, just have his content on here. So you get access to that. PGA, NASCAR. I actually revamped the whole NASCAR model, so I did update the projection system on there, and I made it look a little bit more clean, and I did add some important statistics. So for those of you who are in NASCAR, I think you will enjoy that a lot. I know I will. And then we have NFL when that's coming out. I'm very excited for NFL. MLB, which is what I really spend most of my time on right now because that's what's in full force. And then NASCAR UFC bundle, and then the All Sports Access for $20, which I think is a pretty good value. With if you see all these numbers here for only $20, I think it's pretty good. It's all pretty cheap. So if you want to join in, I'd love to have you. And you get access to Slack, and we talk all day in Slack, so it's actually pretty awesome because you can ask me all the questions you want and all of that good stuff and just have fun. So anyway, enough plugging in commercial time. I have to do that every video because I know we have new people in the video every time, so I apologize for those of you if they hear that every day, but I had to do it. So anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. Actually, before I do that, tonight's slate's crazy. Coors is once again just not doing what it's supposed to do. I ended up getting a little Indian stack in just in case it did play, and that's looking pretty good right now. They're all sub 3%, so that's kind of what saved my night again. It seems like for 3-entry max, I've been doing 2 Coors lineups and 1 fading Coors, and the 1 fading Coors has actually been working out. So I don't know what's up with Coors. Hopefully it ends up working out on this slate because we do have another Coors slate on the early slate here. So hope you guys are having a good night of MLB. A pretty crazy night, but anyway, let's get into the cheat sheet. So not a lot of good pitching options on this slate, I will say, because I don't want to pay $10,200 for Sonny Gray really, but I do think he's one of the better options. So let's talk about Chris Archer first. $9,000. He's coming in at a decent price, and like I said, it's a pretty ugly slate for pitching. But Archer is my favorite option against the Cards. He's got a 27% K rate, but he does have a high walk rate and does give up some power. So he's not without flaws, but I'm not asking for much here. If he can get 6 to 8 strikeouts, I'd be very happy because he's probably going to give up a run or two. But he's had some pretty decent games after a stretch of being awful, so I do think he is in play for sure. He's actually one of my core plays for tomorrow. Then Sonny Gray 10-2. Very expensive, but he's having a pretty good season. He's got elite numbers all around. He's got 3.45 xFIP, 28% K rate. I do believe the walk rate's up a little bit, but I don't love the matchup versus the Cubs, but he should get you near about 20 points. So we don't need, well, actually we do need quite a bit, so to get value at 10,200. So I do think he's going to be a little contrarian because I don't see much people spending up for him, especially with Coors on the slate and some other good options. So if you want to be different, you can split up for Sonny Gray, hopefully, and hope he has a ceiling game, although I will say he's not my favorite option. And then Martin Perez at 7,900. So I want to also talk about Chase Anderson at his price. I believe he's 60. Let me check my pitching tab here. So if you are new, this is what the pitching tab looks like. Pretty much every single thing you need to know for what that pitcher does. Vegas hasn't came out yet, but in the matchup info, then we got projections as well. But let me check Chase Anderson's price. He's 6,100. My model doesn't like him at all, so and I don't really like him either going against the Braves. But I'd get wanting to punt at that price, but I don't feel safe about that. So I do think Martin Perez is a better option considering he's a pretty hefty favorite. I think I was checking other sites. I think he's a negative 160 favorite, so that's pretty substantial. I do like the Twins, so I do think he can get a win. And I don't love the spot, but I don't really love any of these pitchers. So I don't mind going with him, and using him and Archer pretty much lets you do pretty much whatever you want with your bats. So I don't mind going with Perez. I think this is going to be a slight one by the bats, though. And then at catcher, we have Mitch Garver at 5,400. Really, really hefty price tag, but he's been elite versus lefties this season with a 380 ISO. And Vargas is a guy I never mind using righties against. As you're going to see, I do like some of these Twins righties. And then Stephen Vogt, if he's in the lineup, 4,600. He's got a favorable matchup in Coors Field versus John Gray, where we want hitters on the left side of the plate. And then Wilson Ramos at 3,700. Always like him versus lefties. He's got an ISO above 200 versus them, and he always puts the ball in play as he only strikes out 9% of the time versus lefties. So a good contact hitter versus left-handed pitching. Then at first base, Brandon Belt. He's sucking right now, which sucks. But 4,300 price came down, and he's still in a good spot in cores, leading off versus the righties. You know, this is just how DFS goes. Everyone's been playing cores the past 2 nights, and they've sucked. So that means maybe people start to jump off them, and then that means they're going to go off. So I'd recommend loading up on cores again. And then Daniel Murphy, 4,900. He's just the other first baseman in cores, and Anderson doesn't miss many bats with his low K rate versus lefties. So all Rockies lefties are elite plays. Righties are too, but I do prefer the lefties here. And then CJ Cron, 3,700. I have him and Belt as core plays, so just take your choosings. I don't know if I said that right. Whatever. So we were playing this guy a ton earlier in the season, and I don't mind hopping back on the train with him. He's got elite numbers versus lefties. He's got 321 ISO and a 437 WOBA versus Jason Vargas. So I do like CJ Cron. And then at second base, Derek Dietrich at 3,500. Not a lot at all at second base today, so it's going to be a place I want to get some value. Dietrich looks like a nice cheap power option versus Darvish. He was allowing a 273 ISO versus lefties so far this season. And then we have Scooter Gennett at 3,200. Same reasons as Dietrich. Just a little bit cheaper if he's in the lineup. And then Keston Hiura. I don't know if I said that right. 4,600. But he's on a heater, facing a lefty in Keuchel, who's giving up a lot to righties so far this season. It's a smaller sample size, but he does have a high ground ball rate, which I don't like. I do believe he homered a little bit ago. I don't know if that was him or not, but he might have. But anyway, Nolan Arenado at third base, 5,300, still top play, even though it is going against a righty. But core seems to be broken right now, as I said earlier. They're just not scoring runs right now, so don't know what's up with that, but can't see that continuing. Then Marwin Gonzalez, 3,700. Just a cheaper twin righty versus Vargas. And then Cal Seager at 3K. If you really need a dumpster dive, I don't mind Seager at 3K versus Bailey, who I do prefer lefties against. Then at shortstop, we have Trevor Story, 5,500. So like I always say, when they're facing righties, I do prefer Story over Arenado, because Story's been better versus righties this season than he has versus lefties. I believe his ISO is near 280 versus righties compared to 170 versus lefties. So I don't mind going with Story. They're both elite plays, though. Then Brandon Crawford at 4,600. Price is coming way up. Deservedly so. I mean, he had 51 points the one game. I think he had 16 the one after that. And tonight, I don't think he's doing anything, but it could change as I'm recording. But ride the hot streak. A favorable matchup versus Gray and Coors. Then J.P. Crawford, 3,600. Quietly has some very, very good numbers versus righties this season, and we want lefties versus Bailey. And then in the high-end outfield, oh my laptop's at 8%, so hopefully we make it through this video. Charlie Blackmon, 5,800. Top play of the slate if you can afford him. He's a cheat code versus righties at home. Let's just hope the Rockies can go back to scoring runs like they usually do at Coors. And then Nelson Cruz, 5,100. Big price jump from yesterday, but it's warranted with him facing a lefty. Cruz versus lefties is always the top play, as he has matched them in his career, and he is this season with a 333 ISO. Then David Dahl, same reasons as Blackmon, just a little bit less better. And then the mid-range outfield, we have the Giants outfield. They're all in play as they're in Coors Field. Dickerson, Slater, Yastrzemski, something like that. All in play. Then Ryan Braun, 4,200. Always a guy target versus lefties, and Keuchel has been hittable by them so far. And then Malik Smith at 4,100. Cheap in a lefty versus Bailey with tons of speed, so always got that stolen base upside if he can get on base. And then in the value outfield, we got Lorenzo Cain, 3,800. Righty versus Keuchel, and he's been hitting better recently. I believe he just homered a little bit ago, too. Then Kyle Schwarber, 3,800. Don't love the matchup, but cheap in facing off versus righty, although it's a good one in Gray, so I'm not too high on him, but I do like the price. Then Chris Davis, 3,600. Too cheap versus lefty. He's been hitting lefties actually much better this season. And Malone will come in after the opener. What's his name? I think I have him on the pitching sheet. Caracidi, yeah. That's what I thought. So yeah, Malone will come in. He's a lefty. Then Caracidi is the righty. He's opening. And then Jesse Winker, 3,500. Cheap lefty leading off versus Darvish. If we go to some of the core plays, we got Chris Archer. Brandon Belt or CJ Cron, I like both a lot. Then Nelson Cruz at 5,100. You could easily put Blackman in here, but I just wanted to be a little bit different and say Nelson Cruz is a fantastic play at 5,100. And hopefully he'd be a little bit lower owned than Blackman. Then top stacks for me are going to be Coors, the Twins, particularly the righties. The Braves-Brewers game, I like that as a sneakier stack, although I'm not sure it could be too sneaky on a 6-game slate. Is that what this is? But do like that game. Then the Reds-lefties if you need some cheap. And then I'll fill out the rest for the Patreon members. Anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. I'll have a cheat sheet for the late main slate out. I'm not sure if that'll be tonight, but it'll be definitely by tomorrow morning. And anyway, yeah, remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. If you want access to all this, hit the link in the description below. Take you to Patreon. And I'll see you guys soon for the next video.